Right, good morning everybody. Thanks for logging in this morning for the webinar. We're just waiting for a few more people to log on, but I'll make a start. The start of the presentation is just going through what we're going to talk about today. So hopefully as I'm speaking, more people will be able to log on. We've got quite a good number of people already. Thanks for joining me today. I've entitled this webinar, Maximise Your Exhibition ROI, How Effective Pre-Show Planning, Marketing and Goal Setting will attract the right audience to your stand. So hopefully it's quite a self-explanatory title, and you're all interested to hear what I've got to say. Just before we get started, we've just got some quick housekeeping to run through. I'll be talking today for about 45 minutes. I'm ably assisted today by another member of my event marketing team, Stacey Bird. Stacey will be fielding and answering your questions all the way through. So please feel free to utilize the question and answer function within the Adobe system. And then Stacey will share the questions and answers with everyone as we go through. So hopefully that will help build everybody's knowledge as we go through as well. We'll also be doing a Q&A at the end. So if you want to save up your questions and hear the presentation first, we can cover that at the end. And obviously, of course, afterwards, we can talk one-to-one if there's anything we need to cover. To save you making too many notes, we're actually recording this webinar. So after you've attended, I can email a link out to you all. And also I'm publishing an ebook next week, which will cover essentially the same topics we're covering today, but we'll go into a bit more detail, so you can download that as a PDF from next week. So a quick summary of who I am. I'm the marketing director here at Faversham House, and we're the organiser of Sustainability Live 2014. I've got around 18 years marketing experience in B2B and B2C event organising, working mostly in marketing most of my career, but also with periods of sales management experience as well. Over this time, I've developed a real passion for events, and I have experience of organising and marketing all types of events, from very small conferences of 100 delegates right up to very large trade shows attracting over 60,000 visitors. So on every event I've worked on, I've sought to engage with as many of our exhibitors and sponsors as possible. It's important you get the very most you can from our events, and that keeps you coming back. But this can only happen, really, I believe, if there's a partnership between us the organiser, and you, our customers. I guess what I've learned over the years is that whether you're looking to attract a few hundred or many thousands of visitors, the process is essentially the same and comes down to good planning, great marketing execution, and a real connection with who your customers are. So that's enough about me. Just to summarise what I'm here to talk to you about today, just in a bit more detail. By the end of this webinar, I hope you'll have learned three main things. Firstly, how effective marketing planning processes can improve your exhibition performance, results, and ROI. Secondly, I've summarised the 7-point plan to help you attract enough of the right attendees to your stand. And finally, I want to give you an overview of the free marketing opportunities we as the organiser can provide you with to kickstart your own pre-show marketing. I just want to quickly mention that this is going to be the first in a series of 3 webinars we'll be doing over the coming weeks for our exhibitors. Today, as you know, we'll specifically focus on the pre-show phase, the really important phase in the run-up to the show. But the next 2 webinars will focus upon the other 2 highly crucial phases of your participation, what you actually do on your stand at the show, and what you do after the show to follow up. So working the crowd will be sometime next month, probably late next month, and following up the crowd will be in the month following the show in April. So specific dates, times will be emailed out to you after this webinar. So let's start off with the definition of what a successful exhibitor is. In my view, a successful exhibitor knows that the competition for attendees' limited time at events is fierce. With over 250 competing exhibitors at Sustainability Live, you really need to be ahead of the game to win the battle. A successful exhibitor doesn't take a stand and hope that attendees just find them. Of course, passing trade is a real benefit of exhibitions, but you can't just rely upon people finding you if you've got a specific type of visitor you're trying to attract. A successful exhibitor invests in pre-show marketing. It's as simple as that. The successful exhibitor doesn't overinvest in all the other show expenses to the detriment of running an effective marketing campaign. So it's really about balancing your budget between the expenses of setting up your stand, the travel and entertainment, the show services, plus marketing. And it ensures that it's already gone some way in getting on the agenda of its target visitors before the show starts. A successful exhibitor follows up after the show with even more marketing activity. It's really true that the event itself can just be the starting point for many customer relationships, so following up quickly and effectively is essential in the month following the show. And finally, a successful exhibitor is the one with the busy stand for all 3 days. If you look around at any exhibition, all the busiest exhibitors are the ones that have probably implemented effective pre-show marketing campaigns. And just to back up those statements, here's some facts I've gathered from many surveys done throughout the events industry, which I gathered together for you. 83% of the most successful companies at a range of events took the trouble to invite their prospects and customers before the show. The average trade show attendee will visit approximately 26 exhibitors. 76% of attendees arrive with an agenda already of exhibitors they plan to visit. As many as 3 out of 4 stand visits are pre-planned, and unfortunately less than 20% of exhibitors use targeted pre-show marketing campaigns. So there's a real mismatch there, I think, between the number of people who plan their visits and the number of exhibitors who are marketing pre-show to them. I think it used to be the case that you could probably get away without undertaking pre-show marketing, as many visitors didn't plan their visits to the extent they do today. But we're increasingly finding our visitors are hungry for pre-show information, as their time is really limited, and they're often weighing up whether they can justify time away from their day jobs to visit. As well as time, they have to justify to their own superiors that the event is one that's worthwhile visiting. So our attendees are increasingly looking to us for ways to pre-plan their visit so they can approach the show in a much more planned fashion. What this means that if you fail to market yourself pre-show, by the time you get to the event, it could actually be too late. Now might be a really good time to mention our social communities upon Facebook, Twitter and LinkedIn. Social is going to be an even bigger feature of our own 2014 visitor marketing campaign in order to reach out to brand new visitors who may not have attended before. After the webinar, please take a moment to join these communities and begin promoting what you're doing at the show. We're growing these communities all the time and they're growing really rapidly at the moment, so please don't miss out on this free promotion. Just on the screen now, you've got the social community addresses, so you could maybe click on those and you'll see the extent of the audiences there. We've got over 500 fan page likes for Facebook so far, and that's very recently been set up. Twitter at SUSLive, it's got over 4,800 followers. Make sure you use the hashtags there when you utilize our Twitter account. And our LinkedIn group's got over 850 group members currently. I'm now going to move on to the main part of the presentation, which, to make it as simple as possible, I've structured into a 7-point plan. Follow each of these 7 steps in order, and you're already on the way to having a successful show. This diagram illustrates the 7-point plan, which I'll go through in more detail over the following slides. Initially, you'll need to discuss and agree your exhibition goals and structure these into SMART objectives. Then you'll need to develop a specific and written action plan comprising a definition of your target audience and setting out what media you'll use to deliver the audience you want to your stand. We strongly encourage you to take advantage of our numerous free marketing opportunities, more on those later, and then you'll execute your brilliant pre-show marketing plan and then do the all-important follow-up. So let's just go through each of these steps in a little more detail. Step 1, agreeing goals with stakeholders. Due to the number of goals that exhibitions can be used to achieve, all too often different people within your organisation might have different and sometimes conflicting reasons for being there. The smaller your organisation, the easier it might be to agree the common goals of exhibiting, but this obviously isn't always the case. It's generally down to the number of stakeholders involved. So it's a really good idea to identify whom within your organisation needs to have a say and gather everybody together to start building a long list of goals. You've got just 61 days now until the show, so this really needs to happen sooner rather than later. From this initial meeting with all your stakeholders, try and distill this long list down into a realistic short list. As this next slide shows, with face-to-face events being such a powerful sales and marketing medium, you can achieve many goals over the 3 days of Sustainability Live. These are sales goals, customer relationship building goals. You can undertake market research, brand building, supporting your channels, and media relations. Only you and your team and your stakeholders will know where you want to focus your efforts. And perhaps if you only had one or two of these in mind at the moment, you can extend your current thinking into some other areas. My advice here would be to try and achieve multiple objectives from exhibiting achieves greater ROI than just focusing on a single goal. So if you can think of 3 or 4 things to try and achieve at the show and put metrics behind them, all the better. But be careful not to try and achieve too much, as then you might dilute what you originally set out to achieve. Step 2, setting smart objectives. Once the short list of goals has been formulated, then it's time to work these up into smart objectives. I'm sure everybody here today is used to setting smart objectives, so I won't sort of labour the acronym, but spending time on these can make the difference between knowing what success looks like after the event and being able to calculate ROI, or just coming away with a feeling generally of whether it worked or not. I provided some examples of the types of objectives you could be setting. It's all about being able to say after the show, did we achieve that or didn't we? So you can look at things like how many sales leads, product launches to the media, how many press do you want to get on your stand for that product launch, how many business contacts do you want to meet, new business contacts, which of your existing customers do you want to attract and entertain, and how are you going to do that? If you've got a list of key buyers that you're not having contact with at the moment, how many of those do you want to get along and do a demonstration to? So you can see those are all very specific number-based objectives that you could set out now. The third step takes your smart objectives to the next stage and gets more into the granular detail. It's all about the who, what, and where of your target customers and prospects. If you've determined your specific goals and objectives, then you've probably already started the discussion about who you should be targeting. Perhaps you're undertaking a product launch or into a sector and want to make a real push to attract a new type of customer. Perhaps you wish to reconnect with a segment of your existing customer base you feel has been neglected. By looking at specific job functions, organisation types, company size, interest categories and geography, you'll ensure that you're targeting exactly the right people. What this means is no wastage in marketing terms and using the time of your on-stand staff most effectively. Again, it all contributes to that all-important ROI calculation at the end. Obviously, at an event you can attract all different types of visitors to your stand, and some exhibitors are the ones who welcome all, they're going for volume. But it's well worth considering who you don't want to attract as well, and who you do. And then targeting your pre-show marketing accordingly so that you only get the people to your stand that you really want to meet. Decide from the outset whether you're going for volume or quality or both, and perhaps have a system on your stand for qualifying and filtering people as they step on it. Consider the size of your stand, how it's designed and how you'll be staffing it to determine whether it suits the needs of your target audience. If you're attracting SMEs and large corporates, maybe that can be your first qualification as people step onto your stand, and then those types of prospects can be filtered out to different members of your team on the stand. A good way to determine your target audience is perhaps to think about what types of attendee will be the most valuable based on average order value. And then it's quite simple then to add up everything you're spending on the show and then come up with a number of leads and visitors you need to meet. Once steps 1 to 3 are completed, step 4 becomes a lot easier. It's almost impossible to do step 4 without doing 1 to 3. This step's all about committing the initial thinking about goals, objectives and target audience into a written plan. This is often a useful step in order to play back the agreed thinking in the organisation to multiple stakeholders and gain sign-off before the pre-show marketing plan is put into place. In addition, this stage involves thinking about your marketing strategy, marketing communications objectives and marketing tactics, plus what budget you'll commit to the pre-show marketing activities. It's also important to think about who is available to manage and deploy the marketing activity. All of these things need thinking about while you're putting together your plan. So key marketing questions: what exactly is our desired outcome? How are we going to achieve this outcome? Tactically, what specific actions are we going to take? How many staff hours and how much money is going to be allocated to this marketing activity? And who will do what and when? There's many benefits of putting together a well-written marketing action plan before a show. It's a great way to begin engaging some of the people who might not be involved in the initial planning stages of your exhibition presence, but whom will be called upon to participate in achieving your goals and objectives on your stand. For example, your sales teams. Already, by attending this webinar today, it means you're outsmarting the competition. As I mentioned earlier, on average, fewer than 20% of exhibitors use targeted pre-show marketing campaigns, so the ones that do can really capitalize upon the opportunity and raise their profile above all the others. With attendees' behavior changing in recent years, to pre-plan more and ultimately be more choosy about which events they visit and which exhibitors they meet, then understanding this is going to put you ahead of the game immediately. Ensuring alignment of your exhibition marketing with your corporate marketing objectives means you'll prove exhibitions are an essential part of your marketing mix on an ongoing basis. Perhaps most importantly, an investment you've already made in your stand space and the further investment you'll make over the coming weeks in participating at the show will be protected, and ultimately this will deliver you a greater return on investment. Step 5 is when you determine what marketing media is most appropriate to attract the right audience, and is also affordable within your budget. To attract visitors to the show, we'll be using multiple channels like these to attract thousands of attendees over the 3 days. Print advertising, digital advertising, email marketing, direct mail, PR, social, websites. We're using a lot of these channels to get our message out to our visitor base, and maybe you want to just sort of go through that list yourself and decide which ones of those you'll be using. From the earlier work you will have done on setting your SMART objectives, you'll be able to determine the size and scale of your campaign needed to attract the optimum number of attendees to your stand, and which reaches the right people. Step 6 is where you can bolster your own pre-show marketing with a number of free opportunities that we offer to help maximize awareness of your company or brand with the thousands of visitors who are currently pre-registering for the show. The first place to start is probably the exhibitor zone, or eZone for short. This is your own secure area of our website which you log into. It allows you to create and enhance your online profile, and it allows you to order or download free marketing materials. We'll be adding lots of useful resources into the eZone over the coming weeks, so it's worth checking in with the eZone once a week just to see what's changed. If you haven't logged on yet, I'd really encourage you to do so straight after this webinar. It's sustainabilitylive.com/eZone. You should have received your personal logins already, but if not, then Stacey, my colleague, can assist you with those. And if you require additional logins for marketing agencies or other colleagues, then let us know and we'll get those created. The key actions once you've logged into the eZone are to upload your detailed company profile, your company logo, show news, and specify your product categories. The product categories are specifically important as when people are searching on the site, they're looking for, they're pre-planning their visit and they're looking for companies that match their requirements. So the more specific you can be within your profile, the more likely you are to attract the most relevant visitors. With our visitor marketing campaign sending thousands of users to our website every week now, it's vital to tell visitors about what you're doing at the show to maximize their interest. The eZone will also be the place to order printed or e-invitations that you can send out to your customers and prospects. You can download our show logos, you can download banner ads, you can order customized banner ads. And plus you can go through to our exhibitor hub, which is run by our registration company called LiveBuzz, and that's where you can order lead capture devices from our registration company. I'll emphasise lead capture device is really important. If you set the goals and metrics earlier in your plan, you need some method of measuring how leads are coming into your stand. Now, there's obviously apps and other technologies available, but just to highlight that our registration company can provide you with those lead data capture devices. There's no better way to flag to customers and prospects to come and see you at Sustainability Live than using the show logo on all your marketing materials between now and the event. It's a very simple thing to do, but you'll be surprised how many people don't do it. Use the logo in your email signature. You could put it on letterhead, put it on any leaflets or brochures you're printing. You can get stickers produced and put them on your invoices. You can put it on your website homepage. Any signage that you're using at any customer events you're participating in before Sustainability Live. Really, the rule of thumb is put it on anything that your customers and prospects might see between now and Sustainability Live. Similarly, banner and button adverts on your website clearly signpost your participation in the event, and it also helps drive registrations. You can link these banners directly to your enhanced profile on the show website, so that people are one click away of finding out what you're doing at the show. Or better still, you can link them off to our registration system, which means they get pre-registered, and just by being part of our pre-registration database pre-show, that ensures they receive lots and lots of information about all our exhibitors in advance. So on the banners, we can provide generic versions in a range of sizes, just let us know, or we can customize them for you. We can put a see us on stand number message, and we can sort of tailor them really to whatever you want them to say. You can use these banners on your own website, you can use them on your partners' websites, and I don't know whether you're already using the Google Display Network, but that's a really good place as well to use banner ads promoting your presence at shows, as that gets out to a wider audience. There's a link there to the Google Display Network, and there'll be more information about that in the ebook. One of our brand new initiatives for 2014 is the use of personalized URL or Perl sites. You may already be familiar with this technology, which essentially allows you to insert dynamic content into a website, and these websites can be personalized down to an individual level. We sent out our first Perl campaign this week, and it's proved highly popular. We've generated hundreds of pre-registrations off the back of it, and I believe that's truly because we're tailoring content to the individual level. We're going to be using these Perls extensively throughout our visitor marketing campaign in order to tailor the messaging and content to target audiences. So as people tell us more about their roles and their product interest areas and their business types, we're able to then essentially individualize their agendas for them. This maximizes pre-show engagement and makes sure that we're in the minds of people and they're planning their visit weeks before the event. I'm delighted to say that we're now able to extend Perl marketing to all exhibitors free of charge. And this provides you with yet another means of inviting your customers and prospects to your stand at the event. Of course, you can still order the printed invitations I talked about and the e-invites, which are PDFs. But Perl sites are really the next wave of inviting your customers. I mean, maybe you want to use it as a VIP tranche of your visitor marketing campaign. There's two ways you can use Perls. You can either send customers and prospects to a specific Perl site for your company, and from there they can complete their registration details. And the good thing about the Perl sites is that we can track movements through these sites and movements through our registration process. So we can tell you who has registered from that particular Perl site, and then obviously you can pick up with those people knowing that they've pre-registered, and then communicate with them a little bit more detail before the event. Or if you want to take an even more personalized approach, we can work with you to send your specific customers and prospects to a pre-populated individual Perl site, once again branded for your company. This would mean that your data would go to a third-party DMA-approved mailing house, and then we would merge the data into the personalized sites, so that essentially what your customer receives is a personalized invitation, but in the form of a website. So to take advantage of this opportunity, it's probably best that you drop me a line directly, so I can tell you a bit more about it. And we'll be putting some more information about this in the e-zone next week. Public relations support is another key area where working in partnership with our exhibitors often delivers great results. I'd encourage you all to engage with our dedicated PR agency, Aspectus, who are market and sector specialists here. They're taking the lead with us with all media communications and work really as an extension to our team. You can either make direct contact with our account director, Amy Redhead, or put your own PR agency in touch with Aspectus. We find that works really well. The key action here is to keep Aspectus informed every step of the way about what you're doing and why you're unique, whilst understanding and responding to what journalists and the media want. Just a quick checklist here of what the journalists and media are looking for. They're really interested in end-user case studies from your customers. Hearing exactly how your products and solutions have been put into live projects is a great way, a great sort of third-party testimonial of what you're doing. News is always greeted well by the media in the form of press releases, but do always try and accompany these press releases with pictures if possible. In my experience, the more news that goes with pictures, the more it gets published. Thought leadership or byline articles demonstrating your market knowledge are really popular with the media. And of course, anything that's got facts and statistics. If you read any sort of magazine, any facts or statistics that can be charted and talked about and debated also leads to good editorial coverage. So a good way to maximise the opportunities for coverage is to complete an online exhibitor questionnaire we've created. So this is the online marketing and PR questionnaire. You'll see the link there on the slide, sustainabilitylive.com/exhibquest. That's just a short form, probably take you about 5 minutes to complete. And then that information goes directly back to us and Aspectus, and then they can collate that when they're putting together show previews. And finally, just a point on press packs. If you can prepare a digital press pack now that can be sent to Aspectus in advance of the show, telling them what you're doing and what you're planning and a bit about your company, that's really useful. And then also you'll need to start thinking about hard copy press packs, which you'll display in the on-site press office, which Aspectus will be managing at the show. You've got a bit of time for those. Those aren't needed until the day before the show. So if you can drop those off to the press office on site on the 31st of March, that'd be most appreciated. But that's just a few of the opportunities we can link you in with from a PR perspective. So when we're talking about PR, it's probably a good time to remind you again of our social communities. These are really effective channels for sharing news about what you're doing and why you're unique. Don't forget to set up your own social channels as well. I mean, ours are obviously there in front of you, and you're welcome to engage with those as much as you can. But setting up your own channels means that we can potentially retweet you, we can follow you, we can almost play our social communities off against each other to make sure that the kind of noise we're making is as loud as possible. And don't forget, you can also undertake paid advertising on Facebook and LinkedIn to grow your following quickly. If you set up a Facebook page and just sort of don't promote it much and leave it there to organically grow, it can be quite slow. But we found using Facebook advertising and LinkedIn advertising, which is highly targeted, is a really good way of growing your fan base and group members quickly. And within Facebook and LinkedIn, you can be really targeted. So you're gaining awareness from the ads being shown. You're gaining additional people into your social communities, and ultimately you've got a bigger audience to market to. So don't forget social when you're considering your PR. So you followed steps 1 to 6. You've executed a brilliant pre-show marketing plan, and your stand at the show was busy with all the right types of visitors. So you can tick off steps 1 to 6. But before you take a well-earned rest, the final stage is the all-important follow-up. This is probably as vital as the pre-show phase, as it capitalises upon all the hard work beforehand. And as I said earlier, some of your customer relationships will just begin at the show. You've spent the money and effort getting them to your stand. You've met them on your stand. Now use the 2 to 3 months after the show to really nurture those leads. There's some really simple steps here I've outlined, such as measuring results back against the original goal set, documenting it in a report. Obviously, you won't see, we'll attract, thousands of visitors to the show, but you won't see every visitor on your stand. So after the show, maybe you want to rent a targeted list selection from us and dedupe it against the people that visited your stand. That's a really good way of following up people that might not have found you at the show. We also have people who pre-register for the show in advance and then don't come. So again, we can provide you with access to those lists on a rental basis as well. I won't go too much into the detail of follow-up now, as this is going to be the focus of the future webinar in April after the show. But those are just sort of some things to start thinking about for April. So we're drawing to a close now in terms of the sort of main presentation. So I just wanted to leave you with some useful links and resources. Here we've got links to the eZone, which I've talked about, sustainabilitylive.com/eZone. Team contact list, so sustainabilitylive.com/contact us. So that's got the full show team on there, so you can kind of see who we all are. But if I can draw your attention specifically to myself, Jane Lewis, Stacey Bird and Amy Redhead, so we're essentially your PR and marketing team. Really use us as an extension to your marketing team. We're on hand to assist you achieve your goals and objectives. So any help or advice you need, please drop us a line anytime. We're happy to come and visit you. We can have conference calls to help you through this 7-point plan. And we can come and meet with you at the show and talk about follow-up. FaceTime. FaceTime is a exhibition industry website. It's run by our exhibition industry trade body, the AEO. And this is a fantastic resource for you to use. There's loads of free exhibition best practice resources, which you can download, lots of guides on how to make the best of your exhibition presence. So I'd really recommend you visit that. And also Smart Insights. Smart Insights is nothing to do with Faversham House, but I think we found it's a really, really useful website for anybody who's starting to do more digital marketing. There's loads and loads of resources on there to help you plan digital campaigns and to help you adopt best practice in digital marketing. So that's a useful site as well. So hopefully, as you've been speaking, Stacey's assisted you with some of the questions as you've been asking. But if there's other questions you'd like to ask now, please feel free. I'm just going to leave it a couple of minutes so for those questions to come in. And then I'll come back to you and answer any that we've received. So if you can just hold fire for a minute or so, I'll just start collating those. Right, we've got some questions that have come in here. I've got 3 here, so if by all means, if you've got any more, then just keep them coming. Got one from Sarah Farr here. What system do you recommend for capturing visitor details? Sarah, great question. Really, I think you've got to decide. I suppose our lead capture devices provided by our registration company are useful because all of the visitor details have already been data captured. So we've captured their personal details, obviously, but we also collect about 8 fields of demographic data as well. So by using the registration company's devices, then it does mean that you've got all of that data captured already. And that means if you want to add custom qualifiers to that, then those are the only data capture fields you'll need to get at the event. If you don't use a data capture system that's related to our registration system, you would then obviously have to data capture everybody's personal details, maybe some demographics, and then do your personal qualifiers. So we find it works really well for a lot of people because you don't have to recollect that information. But again, if you've got, there's lots of apps now that you can use with mobile devices, which means that you can quickly data capture details at the show, and you might want to obviously cross-reference people against your own database rather than ours. So I'd obviously recommend our system, but obviously have a look around for other systems out there. Thanks for that, Sarah. Any more questions? Please get them in now. I've got a question here. The question is from John. We have a limited time budget, so what elements of the marketing campaign do you think are the most important for us to complete? So that's a great question as well. We know that your time and budgets are limited. So I'd say probably one of the most important things to do is follow the procedure of completing your enhanced entry on the eZone. We're obviously investing a huge amount of money in our marketing campaign, and the show website is the central hub where we drive everybody. It's our shop window. It attracts thousands and thousands of visitors into the run-up to the show. So if you ensure if your profile page is completely up to date with all your company details and your product categories, and you've uploaded news and anything else that you can upload there, then that's really one of the best things you can do, because it means that when people land on the site and start searching the exhibitor list, they find you. So I hope that answers your question. Let's see what we've got in here. What do you recommend including in a press pack? Thanks, Lindsay Clifton. Right, so I think some of the essentials for a press pack would probably be a company brochure, a show release, so a show press release. So probably no more than 1 or 2 sides explaining exactly what you're doing at the show. So if there's a particular goal, and we talked about earlier goals, if there's a particular goal that you want to achieve, e.g. a product launch, make the show release solely focused on that goal or those goals. So just some general company background, a show news release. If you're doing a product launch, then specific product sheets, specifications. Customer case studies are also great to put in press packs. Pointing the press to somewhere where they can get images. So either a contact at your end or at your PR company, or some people like to put a memory stick with images on, or point people to a particular web page where those resources can be downloaded. So essentially, if you go back to that reference list I gave earlier about what the press are looking for, your press pack should ideally include a sample of all those things. Inspectors will probably be able to expand on that answer, so please make contact with Inspectors and they'll be able to guide you a bit more on that. Thanks for that question, Lindsay. Elsa Burns, thank you for your question. What methods can you use to capture business cards? Okay, I'm no expert on this, but I know there are now scanning devices on the market. I think there might be some iPad apps and some mobile apps that you can scan business cards and it converts it into text. I know there's certainly some pen devices that you can run over the text, which will then convert it into data, so you don't need to data capture that. But I have to say, I'm not an expert on that, so let us do some digging into that and then we'll come back to you. Elsa also got a second question. How many press packs should you create? Good question as well. Obviously, being a sustainability event, we would probably advise you not to overproduce press packs, and we'd certainly encourage you to come back to the press office after the show is closed on the 3rd day and collect any surplus press packs. It's really hard to guide you. We're probably going to attract anywhere between sort of 60 to 80 members of the press. But again, some members of the press like to have everything digitally, and some members of the press like a physical hard copy press pack. So it's very hard to guide you on exact numbers. I would say, maybe if you can deliver 20 to the press office on the first day and then check back maybe each half a day and replenish is probably the best way to go. But I would say if you can, I talked earlier about a digital press pack. If you can focus on that as well, then actually pushing people to that means that the press don't have to then go away with lots of hard copy material, and they've got all of your resources online as well. So I hope that's a satisfactory answer. We've just got a couple more questions here that I received in earlier. What other opportunities are there to promote our sales apart from those in the E-zone? Good question. So I've talked a lot today about our free opportunities, and those are added value opportunities that every exhibitor can take up for free. But there are also several paid for opportunities which can be used to enhance your presence at the show. We've got if you go to, I think it was on the slide earlier, sustainabilitylive.com/sponsorship. There's a whole raft of sponsorship opportunities from low value to high value for achieving different marketing objectives, whether you want to do a bit of flag waving, brand building, or whether you want to be more targeted. So there's sponsorship of emails, those solus emails, pre-show and post-show. You can buy website banners all over the website. I've talked already about how many thousands of people hit the website in our visitor promotion campaign. You can do theatre sponsorship. We have a new keynote stage at the centre of the show this year. We've got 4 additional seminar theatres. We have some new networking bars on the show floor. We have lanyards. We have floor tiles. If you go to that sponsorship page, there's a whole, as I say, there's a whole raft of paid for opportunities there. And potentially, even if you're taking a smaller size stand that's not on one of the main aisles, we find that adding sponsorship into that can really maximise your presence at the show above some of your larger competitors. I've got another question that's come in online. This is from Sarah Farr again. Thanks, Sarah. Can we have follow-up photos from any official photographer you may use? Absolutely, yeah, we have an official show photographer. We will publish the details of that photographer in the E-zone if it's not already there. And you're welcome to use our photography that we take at the show. Similarly, you're welcome to use our official show photographer. I believe that you'll get a discounted rate from him for using him in addition to him doing our show photography. I might be wrong there, but I think that's usually the way it works. But again, we give a fairly comprehensive photographic brief to our photographer, and those photos will be available from the press office, and we'll make them available. We'll probably set up an online Flickr feed after the show, and then you can contact one of the team and pick out any particular images you want. But yeah, absolutely, Sarah, we can provide those to you. I've got one more final question here before we wrap up. We're sort of right on time. How much does it cost to become involved in the Pearl campaign you described? Well, I'm pleased to say this costs absolutely nothing to exhibitors. Again, it's one of these free services that we're providing, and we'll set that up for you, and we'll take on the costs of the setup of the personalised websites. We'll take care of email promotion out for you. We could potentially look at doing mailings for you as well. So I'd encourage you all to kind of contact me about that, but there isn't a cost attached to that. Essentially, we're encouraging you to invite as many people to the show as possible, and we're willing to help you out by covering those costs. So I think that's all the questions we have now. The only other thing to mention, I guess, is that within Faversham House, we are a sort of multi-platform media provider. We obviously organise Sustainability Live, but some of you might not be aware that we publish Utility Week. We have a large internet portal in the sustainability space called edie.net. We publish WWT and Wet News magazines. What this means is that, unlike a lot of exhibition organisers, we can give you maximise your reach really to these audiences via other media channels. So again, if you come back to the marketing team, if you're interested in knowing about any of those opportunities, we can let you know. If you tell us who your target audience is, we can let you know which of the Faversham House media you might want to use, and then we can obviously put together some integrated campaigns for you. So again, those can cover advertising. You can send us in news releases about what you're doing. So very much we work here as an integrated media company. So Sustainability Live is just one of the brands that we have. Utility Week, ED, WWT, Wet News are the supporting brands of the show, and we work really closely with our colleagues on those. So all it sort of leads me to remind you now of the future webinars we're planning, as I mentioned at the start. So in February, please re-attend for Working the Crowd, how to maximise exhibition ROI through effective on-stand techniques. Our aim there is to pull in an expert speaker who has loads of experience in working the crowd, and then in April, following up the crowd, extending your exhibition ROI through effective marketing follow-up after the doors have closed. So that's going back to that all-important follow-up in April, May into June. So I hope you're able to join us for those. I'll make sure that everybody who pre-registered and attended this webinar today gets priority information about those. And all it leaves me to say is thank you for joining us. Do drop any of the team a line if you need any help or advice with your pre-show marketing campaign, and good luck, and we'll see you all at the show in 61 days time. Thank you.